You know this moment. You post something simple, nothing dramatic, just you out living. Maybe you're at the gym, maybe you're with friends, maybe you're just not where she left you. And then you notice it. Her name pops up. She viewed it, then the next one, then another. No message, no real move. Just quiet attention from the same person who acted like you barely existed. And in your head, it sounds like this. Why is she watching now? Did she miss me? Is this a sign? Should I reach out first? Was she ignoring me or testing me? Why does she care more when I stop caring? Here's the truth. She didn't start watching because you did more. She started watching because you finally stopped chasing. You're not crazy. This isn't about you being broken. Most guys feel exactly this, man, and nobody ever explains why distance suddenly creates attention. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the one behavior that makes an avoidant who ignored you start watching you closely, why it works on a deep emotional level, and how to use it without games, desperation, or losing your self-respect. Let's get into it. Most guys believe attention comes from pursuit, from sending the right text, from being patient longer, from proving their value harder, from staying visible in her world so she doesn't forget them. But the real truth is this. Avoidants often feel you the most when your energy stops leaning on them, not when you disappear in anger, not when you act cold, not when you post for revenge, but when your presence becomes grounded, calm, and genuinely self-contained. That's when her energy shifts. Because when you chase, she feels pressure. When you explain too much, she feels weight. When you keep reaching, her gut tells her something is off, even if your intentions are good. But when you stop making her the center of your emotional state, she feels something rare: space, contrast, silence. And in that silence, your absence becomes visible. That's the psychological switch. Most guys think being ignored means they need to push harder, but the real truth is that avoidants often start watching when your energy no longer asks for anything. That's when curiosity comes back. That's when respect begins. That's when attraction has room to breathe again. So if you want to understand the one behavior that flips the whole dynamic, here it is. You stop reaching for reassurance. Once, for real, and you become fully grounded in your own life. That one shift changes everything. 1. Stop reaching for a response. This is the first layer. Most guys get ignored and instantly try to re-enter the connection. Another text, another check-in, another just seeing how you are. They think staying present keeps them relevant, but really they're reacting to their own discomfort. Here's the deeper truth. An avoidant woman does not feel drawn in by your repeated attempts to reconnect. She feels your need for resolution. She senses the emotional reach underneath your words. Her energy shifts because your presence no longer feels effortless. It feels loaded. Wrong approach sounds like this. Hey, just checking in. Haven't heard from you. Hope everything's okay. Right approach sounds like this. You say nothing. You let the silence breathe. You stop using words to force movement. That silence is loud, because your energy is the message before your mouth even opens. And when you stop reaching for a response, her brain starts whispering, "Why did he go quiet?" And when you do that, she feels space instead of pressure. And that's the first thing that makes her start watching. 2. Withdraw the emotional supply. Here's the part nobody talks about. Most guys do not just give attention. They give emotional supply, constant warmth, constant availability, constant reassurance. They become a steady stream of validation that she can feel without ever having to invest equally. That is where the power leaks. Because when your attention is always available, she stops feeling its weight. Not because she's evil, not because she doesn't care, but because human beings notice contrast. And avoidants especially notice what changes in the emotional environment. Wrong approach looks like this. She gives you dry replies for days, and you still keep showing up with full energy, long messages, and supportive words. Right approach looks like this. You pull your emotional supply back. You stay respectful. You stay calm. But you no longer pour presence into a closed door. Not punishment, not manipulation, not fake detachment, but real, grounded self-respect. Conversation isn't a performance. It's a dance. And when you stop dragging the rhythm alone, she finally feels what your energy was doing in the room. That's emotional caffeine for her brain, because now her inner voice starts saying, "Why do I notice him more now that he's not here?" Become harder to read, not harder to feel. This is the one most guys completely miss. Most guys here pull back and turn into a statue. Cold replies, dry tone, random attitude. They think mystery means being emotionally dead, but women instantly feel the bitterness underneath that vibe. That never creates respect. Because avoidants do not get drawn in by coldness, they get drawn in by calm self-possession. She feels the difference immediately. One energy says, "I'm hurt and trying to hide it." The other says, "I'm good either way." Wrong approach sounds like this. She watches your story, and you instantly post more for her to see. A little flex, a little performance, a little digital peacocking. Right approach sounds like this. You live your life normally. You post naturally if you want. You do not use your world as bait. You let your presence be real, not strategic. Not loud confidence, not fake confidence, not "look how great I'm doing" confidence, but quiet, grounded, "I know who I am" confidence. Most guys try to look powerful. You actually become peaceful. And when you do that, she feels something magnetic she can't quite label. And that's when she starts watching more closely. 4. Rebuild your life off the connection. And here's where it gets interesting. Most guys say they're moving on, but their whole nervous system is still hooked. They still check her page, still wait on her name, still build their mood around whether she noticed them. That means she still owns the emotional center, even in silence. She feels that too. An avoidant is deeply sensitive to whether your life has its own gravity. If she senses that you are still orbiting her, even quietly, your energy stays predictable. But when you genuinely reconnect with your habits, your routine, your body, your work, your friendships, your whole vibe changes. Wrong approach looks like this. You spend your evenings refreshing her profile and decoding breadcrumbs. Right approach looks like this. You go train, you get sharper, you lock into your schedule, you start becoming more grounded than you were before she ever pulled away. This isn't a trick. This is who you're becoming. Because when your life regains shape, your presence regains weight. Her brain starts saying, "He doesn't feel as available anymore." Then another thought appears. Something about him feels different. And when you do that, she feels your absence as substance, not drama. And that's when quiet attention turns into real curiosity. 5. Let her wonder without interrupting it. Bro, this part matters. Most guys get the first sign she's watching and instantly ruin it. A story view, a like, a random orbit, and suddenly they panic. They message. They post more. They try to convert her attention into immediate contact. That kills the tension, because curiosity is like a spark in dry grass. If you stomp on it too fast, it dies. Avoidants often move in indirect ways first. They watch before they engage. They feel before they speak. They test before they trust. Wrong approach sounds like this. You notice she watched every story and you send, "So you're stalking me now?" Right approach sounds like this. You notice it. You stay calm. You let the pattern build. You do not interrupt her curiosity with your need for certainty. Most guys want instant proof. You let attention reveal itself over time. Silence between words is like silence between musical notes. That's where the rhythm lives. And when you don't rush to collapse the tension, she starts sitting with it longer. She starts wondering more. She starts replaying things. And when you do that, she feels the pull without the pressure. And that's the shift that makes her keep checking in. 6. Respond clean if she reappears. But here's what changes everything. If she does come back, most guys fail right there. Why? Because they stored up too much emotion. Now one little message opens the floodgate. Questions, relief, overexcitement, subtle resentment, too much too fast. She feels it instantly. Avoidants do not just respond to contact, they respond to emotional weight. So if your reentry feels like stored pressure, her wall goes right back up. But if your response feels clean, grounded, and effortless, she starts associating you with peace instead of pressure. Wrong approach sounds like this. Hey, wow, didn't expect to hear from you after all that. Right approach sounds like this. Hey, good to hear from you. That's it. Not cold, not overeager, not performing indifference, just calm. Most guys turn the return into a courtroom. You turn it into a clean moment. And when you do that, she feels safe enough to stay present. And that's when attention can actually turn into reconnection. 7. Make her feel your stability, not your need. This is the deepest point. At the end of the day, the one behavior that flips the power is simple. You stop seeking emotional confirmation from someone who is emotionally distant. That's it. That one move changes your energy completely. Most guys want to be noticed. But the real shift happens when you no longer need to be noticed to feel okay. That is what she feels. That is what she respects. That is what makes your presence magnetic. Wrong approach is this. You're quiet on the outside, but inside, you're still desperate for her to break the silence. Right approach is this. You genuinely return to yourself. You become calm, grounded, focused, real. You let your life speak. You let your absence breathe. You let her feel the difference. Not ego, not revenge, not watch me win energy, but settled, genuine, unshakable presence. Most guys want her attention back. You become the man whose energy naturally pulls attention without asking for it. And here's the thing. The moment she feels that you are no longer emotionally leaning on her, her inner voice starts saying, "Why am I paying more attention to him now?" Then it gets deeper. Why do I feel him more now that he's gone quiet? That is the switch. And when you do that, she feels your stability like gravity. And gravity always gets noticed. So let's bring this home. This isn't about memorizing some clever move. It's not about making her jealous. It's not about becoming colder, harder, or emotionally unavailable. It's about becoming the kind of man whose peace no longer depends on being chosen. When you internalize this, you stop performing and start being. And that's when everything shifts. This isn't about memorizing a list. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need one. These habits aren't about impressing women. They're about finally feeling settled inside your own skin. So if you remember one line from this video, remember this. The moment you stop needing her attention is the moment your absence starts speaking louder than your effort ever did. And if this hit home, the next video you need to watch is what to do when the avoidant finally comes back and tests the connection again. Because getting watched is one thing, but knowing how to hold your power when she re-enters is what changes the whole game.